Most gardeners think December means the season is over. But here's the truth. Some of your best spring harvests actually start right now. After 3 decades of growing, I've learned December is one of the most powerful months to get seeds going. Today, I'm sharing 20 seeds you can start this month. Stick around for number 17, a pollinator magnet most overlooked, plus a bonus tip that could change how you approach winter gardening. The first seed we're starting this December is spinach, and there's a reason it tops the list. Spinach is extremely cold hardy, capable of surviving temperatures well below freezing, which makes it perfect for winter sowing. If you're in zones 3 through 7, you can sow spinach seeds right now in milk jugs, cold frames, or low tunnels. Gardeners in zones 8 through 10 can direct sow into prepared beds this month with excellent results. The variety I recommend is Winter Bloomsdale. It has deeply savoyed, crinkled leaves that hold up beautifully in cold weather, and its flavor actually sweetens after frost exposure. What makes December sowing so effective is timing. The seeds sit dormant through the coldest weeks, then germinate the moment day length increases and soil temperatures rise just slightly in late winter. This gives you a significant head start over spring-sown spinach. You'll be harvesting tender baby leaves weeks before your neighbors even think about planting. For best results, sow seeds about ½ inch deep and keep the soil moist, but not waterlogged. Spinach doesn't need heat to get going, just patience and a little protection from the harshest conditions. The second seed on our list is kale, one of the toughest greens you can grow. Kale absolutely shrugs off frost and actually tastes better after cold exposure converts its starches to sugars. December sowing works beautifully in zones 3 through 9, whether you're using winter sow containers, cold frames, or direct seeding in milder climates. For curly types, Winterbore F1 is outstanding. It produces dense, ruffled blue-green leaves that handle repeated freezes without flinching. If you prefer the flat, elegant leaves of lacinato kale, look for Nero di Toscana, an Italian heirloom with rich, almost nutty flavor. What happens when you sow kale in December is remarkable. The seeds germinate slowly in cool soil, developing strong root systems while top growth remains compact. Then, as soon as late winter sun strengthens and temperatures climb even slightly, those seedlings explode with vigorous growth. You end up with sturdy, well-established plants that outperform anything started in spring. Sow seeds about ¼ inch deep in your containers or beds. Kale isn't fussy about soil, but good drainage helps prevent rot during wet winter months. Give it a try this December, and you'll wonder why you ever waited until spring. The third crop to sow this month is lettuce, specifically the cold hardy types that thrive in winter conditions. While tender summer lettuces would struggle, certain varieties are bred to handle frost and even light freezes, making them ideal candidates for December sowing in zones 3 through 9. 2 varieties stand out for winter growing. Winter Density is a romaine type with thick, crunchy leaves and exceptional cold tolerance. Black-seeded Simpson is a loose-leaf variety that germinates reliably in cool soil and produces tender, mild-flavored leaves quickly. Both handle the low light and fluctuating temperatures of late winter remarkably well. Start your seeds in milk jugs, cold frames, or directly in protected beds if you're in a mild climate. The goal is to have transplant-sized plugs ready the moment your soil can be worked in early spring. Plants that got their start in December will be weeks ahead of anything sown after the last frost. Sow seeds shallowly, barely covering them with soil, since lettuce needs some light to germinate. Keep the growing medium moist and provide ventilation on warmer days to prevent fungal issues. December lettuce gives you that first fresh salad of the season long before summer heat arrives. Now, if you're finding this video helpful so far, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps this video reach more gardeners like yourself, who would also find this information helpful. All right, let's continue. The fourth seed to start this December is arugula, sometimes called rocket, and it's one of the fastest greens you can grow. Arugula germinates readily in cool soil and handles repeated light frosts without complaint, making it a natural fit for winter sowing. Gardeners in zones 3 through 9 can take advantage of December planting using containers, cold frames, or direct sowing in mild winter areas. A standard salad rocket mix gives you excellent results, producing those signature peppery, lobed leaves that add zest to salads and sandwiches. What makes arugula special for December sowing is its speed. Even in cool conditions, seeds can germinate in just a week or two, and the plants grow quickly once established. You'll be harvesting tender baby leaves in late winter while other gardeners are still flipping through seed catalogs. Sow seeds about 1/4 inch deep and keep them evenly moist. Arugula appreciates consistent water but doesn't like soggy feet. One of the best things about this crop is its cut-and-come-again nature. Harvest the outer leaves and the plant keeps producing, extending your harvest window significantly. If you love fresh, spicy greens in your kitchen, December-sown arugula delivers earlier than almost anything else in the garden. The 5th seed we need to discuss is sugar snap peas, a cool weather favorite that actually performs best when started early. Peas love cold conditions and are traditionally among the first crops sown each year, but December planting takes this a step further. In zones 8 through 10, you can direct sow peas right now into garden beds. In colder zones, winter. Sowing in containers works beautifully, allowing roots to establish while tops stay compact until conditions improve. 2 excellent varieties to try are Sugar Ann, a compact bush type perfect for containers and small spaces, and Sugar Snap, the classic vining type that produces heavy yields on tall plants. Both offer that satisfying crunch and sweetness that makes fresh peas such a treat. December-sown peas develop strong root systems during the cold months, then rocket upward as soon as late winter temperatures rise. This head start means earlier harvests and often heavier yields, since the plants mature before summer heat arrives and shuts them down. Sow seeds about 1 inch deep and provide some support for vining types. Peas fix nitrogen in the soil, so they're also improving your garden while producing food. The 6th seed on our December starting list is fava beans, also known as broad beans. These are classic overwintering legumes with a long history of fall and winter planting in many parts of the world. Favas tolerate remarkably cold conditions, handling temperatures down into the teens once established, which makes them perfect for December sowing in zones 2 through 10. The variety I recommend is Aqua Dulce Claudia, a heritage cultivar specifically bred for overwintering. It produces long pods filled with large, creamy beans that have a distinctive earthy, slightly nutty flavor unlike any other legume. In mild winter climates, direct sow fava seeds into prepared beds this month. In colder regions, starting them in deep containers or protected cold frames gives them shelter while allowing root development. The plants grow slowly through winter, developing deep, robust root systems that anchor vigorous spring growth. When warmer weather arrives, these overwintered plants flower early and produce beans well before anything started in spring. As a bonus, favas are nitrogen fixers, enriching your soil for future crops. Sow seeds about 2 inches deep and space plants generously since they grow quite large. Fava beans reward patient December gardeners with one of the most satisfying harvests of early summer. The 7th crop to start this month is bunching onions, often called scallions or evergreen onions. These hardy alliums can overwinter successfully from seed, and December sowing gives them the long, cool growing period they need to develop strong roots and thick, productive clumps. Gardeners in zones 3 through 9 can take advantage of winter sowing techniques or direct sowing in mild climates. The variety to look for is Evergreen Hearty White, aptly named for its ability to survive freezing temperatures and keep producing. Unlike bulbing onions, bunching types don't form large bulbs. Instead, They produce clusters of slender, mild-flavored stalks you can harvest repeatedly throughout the growing season. What makes December sowing so effective for bunching onions is the extended establishment period. Seeds germinate when conditions allow. Then the young plants spend winter developing root systems rather than top growth. Come spring, they take off quickly, and you can begin harvesting green onions much earlier than spring-sown crops would allow. Sow seeds about half an inch deep in containers, cold frames, or directly in garden beds where winters are mild. Keep the soil consistently moist but well drained. Once established, these onions are remarkably low maintenance, and a single December sowing can provide fresh scallions from early spring right through fall. The 8th seed we're planting this December is sweet peas, the fragrant flowering vine that gardeners have treasured for generations. Sweet peas actually benefit tremendously from very early sowing, and December is the perfect time to get them started. In zones 8 through 10, you can direct sow seeds outdoors now. In zones 3 through 9, winter sowing in deep pots or milk jugs produces exceptionally sturdy plants. Two wonderful variety options are Mammoth Choice Mix, which offers large, ruffled blooms in a rainbow of colors, and Old Spice Mix, an heirloom blend with intense fragrance that fills the garden with perfume. Sweet peas started in December develop in cool conditions, which is exactly what they prefer. The plants grow slowly but steadily, forming strong root systems and compact, sturdy stems. When spring arrives, these well-established vines begin climbing and flowering much earlier than anything started after the last frost. The result is weeks of additional bloom time before summer heat causes them to decline. Sow seeds about an inch deep in containers at least 4 inches tall to accommodate their long taproots. Nicking the seed coat or soaking seeds overnight speeds germination. December sown sweet peas reward you with armloads of fragrant cut flowers when you need them most. The 9th seed to start this December is snapdragons, a beloved hardy annual flower that takes its time from seed to bloom. Snapdragons prefer cool growing conditions and benefit enormously from an early start, making December the ideal month to get them going. Gardeners in zones 4 through 9 can use winter sowing containers or start seeds indoors under lights for transplanting in early spring. Two excellent varieties to consider are Rocket Mix, which produces tall, sturdy spikes perfect for cutting, and Madame Butterfly, a double-flowered type with ruffled blooms that resemble azaleas. Both offer outstanding garden performance and come in a wide range of colors. What makes December sowing so valuable for snapdragons is the long lead time these flowers require. From seed to first bloom can take 4 months or more, so starting now means you'll have transplant-ready plants by the time the ground thaws. Spring-planted snapdragons often don't hit their stride until summer is nearly over, but December-started plants bloom prolifically through the cool months of spring and early summer. Sow seeds on the surface of moist growing medium since they need light to germinate. Keep them consistently moist and provide good air circulation. Your patience will be rewarded with spectacular vertical color in the garden. The 10th flower seed for December sowing is Echinacea, commonly known as purple coneflower. This native perennial is a pollinator powerhouse and a staple of low-maintenance gardens. But it has a secret. The seeds actually need or strongly benefit from a period of cold, moist conditions to germinate well. December sowing outdoors lets winter do this stratification work naturally. Echinacea thrives in zones 3 through 9, and the variety I recommend is Magnus, a classic selection with large rose-pink petals surrounding prominent orange cones. It's a robust grower that attracts butterflies and bees throughout the summer months. Winter sowing Echinacea is remarkably simple. Place seeds in vented milk jugs or containers filled with moist seed starting mix. Then set them outside and let nature take over. The alternating freeze and thaw cycles break down the seed coat and satisfy the cold requirement. Come spring, You'll see seedlings emerge without any effort on your part. These naturally stratified plants tend to be stronger and more vigorous than those started indoors with artificial methods. First-year plants may produce a few blooms, but by year 2, you'll have established clumps that flower heavily for months. December sowing is the easiest path to growing these tough, beautiful perennials from seed. The 11th seed on our list is milkweed, the essential host plant for monarch butterflies. If you've ever tried starting milkweed indoors in spring, you know it can be frustratingly difficult. That's because many milkweed species require a prolonged cold, moist period to break seed dormancy. December. Sowing outdoors is the most reliable, low-effort way to succeed with these important native plants. 2 species work wonderfully for most gardeners. Common milkweed, Asclepias syriaca, thrives in zones 3 through 9 and spreads to form colonies. Swamp milkweed, Asclepias incarnata, prefers moist conditions and stays more clump-forming. Both support monarch caterpillars and produce beautiful, fragrant flowers that attract numerous pollinators. The winter sowing method works perfectly for milkweed. Sow seeds in vented containers, set them outside in December, and let winter weather naturally stratify the seeds. You'll see germination in spring without any indoor fussing with refrigerator stratification or temperature manipulation. Plants established this way develop strong taproots and typically outperform transplants from nursery starts. By summer, you could have blooming milkweed ready to support the next generation of monarchs. Growing milkweed from seed is one of the most meaningful things a gardener can do for wildlife, and December makes it easy. The 12th seed to sow this December is carrots, specifically the cold hardy varieties that handle winter conditions gracefully. In climates where the soil isn't frozen solid, December sown carrots sit quietly in the ground until conditions improve, then sprout early and give you a significant jump on spring harvests. This technique works well in zones 3 through 9 with appropriate protection. 2 outstanding varieties for winter sowing are Napoli F1, an early Nantes type known for sweet flavor and smooth skin, and Bolero, which offers excellent disease resistance and stores beautifully. Both produce tender, flavorful roots that benefit from cold weather growing, which converts starches to sugars and intensifies sweetness. For gardeners in mild winter areas, direct sow carrot seeds into prepared beds this month. In colder regions, winter sowing in deep containers or using low tunnels over garden beds provides the protection seeds need. The key is ensuring soil stays moist but not waterlogged, as carrot seeds require consistent moisture to germinate. Sow seeds shallowly and be patient. December sown carrots may take weeks or even months to emerge, but once they do, they grow steadily through late winter and early spring. The reward is pulling sweet, crunchy roots long before spring planted carrots are ready. The 13th crop for December sowing is cilantro, also known as coriander. If you've struggled with cilantro bolting to seed almost immediately in warm weather, December planting is your solution. Cilantro strongly prefers cool conditions and tends to flower prematurely when temperatures rise, ending your harvest before it really begins. Winter sowing gives this herb the cold growing period it craves. The variety to choose is Slow Bolt, which lives up to its name by resisting the urge to flower longer than standard types. Even Slow Bolt cilantro appreciates cool weather, so starting in December sets you up for extended harvests through late winter and early spring before summer heat arrives. In mild winter climates, zones 8 through 10, direct sow cilantro seeds into garden beds now. In colder areas, winter sowing in containers or using cold frames works beautifully. Sow seeds about ½ an inch deep and keep them consistently moist. Cilantro doesn't transplant particularly well due to its taproot, so sowing in place or in containers you can plant directly into the garden is ideal. December sown cilantro grows slowly but steadily through the cold months, producing lush, flavorful foliage for fresh salsa, curries, and countless other dishes right when you need it most. The 14th seed to start this December is parsley, both the flat leaf and curly varieties. Parsley is notoriously slow to germinate, sometimes taking 3 weeks or more, and the seeds actually benefit from exposure to cold temperatures. December sowing takes advantage of this natural requirement and gives you robust plants ready for spring harvests. Gardeners in zones 4 through 9 can succeed with winter sowing containers or direct sowing in mild climates. For flat-leaf parsley, Giant of Italy is the gold standard, producing large, deeply flavored leaves favored by serious cooks. If you prefer curly parsley, moss curled offers dense, ruffled foliage that works beautifully as both garnish and ingredient. Both types are biennial, meaning they'll produce leaves the first year and flowers the second. Winter sowing parsley couldn't be simpler. Sow seeds in vented containers, set them outside, and let the cold months naturally break down the seed coat and satisfy any stratification needs. You'll see germination in late winter or early spring without the frustration of waiting and wandering indoors. The resulting plants tend to be vigorous and well-rooted, ready to provide fresh parsley from early spring right through fall. December sowing transforms this sometimes tricky herb into an easy success. The 15th crop on our December sowing list is tatsoi, sometimes called Asian spoon mustard. This cold-tolerant green forms beautiful, dense rosettes of dark, spoon-shaped leaves with a mild, slightly mustardy flavor. Tatsoi handles frost remarkably well and can overwinter under light protection, making it an excellent candidate for December planting in zones 3 through 9. The variety to look for is Rosette Tatsoi, which forms compact, attractive plants perfect for both garden beds and containers. The leaves work wonderfully in salads, stir-fries, and soups, offering versatility that few other winter greens can match. Start tatsoi seeds in low tunnels, cold frames, or winter sowing containers this month. In mild winter areas, direct sowing into garden beds works perfectly well. The plants grow slowly through the coldest weeks, putting energy into root development rather than leaf production. Then, as soon as late winter sun strengthens and days begin to lengthen, those rosettes fill out rapidly with tender, harvestable leaves. Sow seeds about 1/4 inch deep and thin to give plants room to form their characteristic rosette shape. Tatsoi is one of those crops that makes winter gardening feel truly rewarding, delivering fresh greens when the garden would otherwise be dormant. The 16th seed for December starting is violas, along with their close relatives, pansies. These cheerful, cool weather flowers thrive in conditions that would stress most annuals, handling frost, and even light freezes without complaint. Starting them from seed in December ensures you'll have sturdy transplants ready to provide color through early spring when your garden needs it most. Gardeners in zones 4 through 9 can take advantage of winter sowing or indoor starting under lights. 2 lovely options are Johnny Jump Up, a classic viola with purple, yellow, and white faces that self-sows reliably, and Delta Mix, a pansy series offering large blooms in an array of colors. Both flower prolifically in cool weather and slow down only when summer heat arrives. December sowing works beautifully for these flowers because they need time to develop into substantial plants before blooming. Seeds started now in vented containers or under grow lights will be transplant ready by late winter, producing flowers weeks ahead of anything started in spring. Sow seeds shallowly and keep them cool, as violas and pansies germinate best at temperatures below 70 degrees. Your reward is masses of friendly, colorful blooms that brighten the garden during those transitional weeks between winter gray and summer abundance. The 17th seed on our list is anise hyssop, a pollinator favorite that deserves a spot in every garden. This hardy perennial herb produces spikes of lavender blue flowers that bees and butterflies absolutely adore, and the licorice-scented foliage adds interest even when plants aren't blooming. December sowing gives you an economical way to grow multiple plants from a single seed packet. Anise hyssop thrives in zones 4 through 9, and the variety I recommend is Blue Fortune. known for its exceptionally long bloom period and sturdy stems. The flowers make excellent cuts for arrangements and dry beautifully for winter bouquets. Winter sowing works wonderfully for this perennial. Sow seeds in vented containers, set them outside in December, and let cold weather naturally prepare them for germination. You'll see seedlings emerge in spring without any special treatment or indoor fussing. These plants establish quickly once transplanted and often bloom the first year from seed. By the second summer, you'll have substantial clumps covered in flower spikes that hum with pollinator activity from midsummer into fall. At a fraction of the cost of nursery plants, December-sown anise hyssop lets you fill your garden with this bee magnet without breaking your budget. The 18th seed to start this December is lupine, those magnificent spiky flowers that create stunning vertical interest in the garden. Lupines are perennials or short-lived perennials that often struggle with summer heat but perform brilliantly in cooler climates. The seeds respond extremely well to cold, moist stratification, making December sowing outdoors the easiest path to success. Russell Hybrid Mix is the classic choice, offering tall spires of flowers in shades of pink, purple, blue, red, yellow, and white. These plants thrive in zones 4 through 8 and create absolutely breathtaking displays when planted in groups. Winter sowing lupines couldn't be simpler. Place seeds in vented containers filled with moist seed starting mix and set them outside to experience natural winter conditions. The cold and moisture work together to break seed dormancy, and you'll see germination in spring without any refrigerator stratification or other indoor manipulation. Sow seeds about 1/4 inch deep and be patient through the winter months. Lupines develop deep taproots, so handle seedlings carefully when transplanting and avoid disturbing the roots. Plants started in December often bloom their first year, rewarding your patience with those iconic flower spikes that gardeners and pollinators alike find irresistible. The 19th seed for December sowing is Hearty poppies, including Iceland, Oriental, and breadseed types. These ethereal flowers prefer to be sown in cold soil and famously resent transplanting, which makes December surface sowing in prepared beds or containers the perfect approach. You'll be rewarded with thick, self-reseeding drifts that return year after year. For Iceland poppies, try the Iceland mix, which produces delicate, papery blooms in shades of orange, yellow, pink, and white on slender stems. Breadseed poppies like Lauren's grape offer dramatic, dusky purple flowers, followed by attractive seed pods for dried arrangements. These poppies thrive in zones 3 through 8, depending on the species. The key to success with poppies is surface sowing. The tiny seeds need light to germinate, so simply press them onto moist soil without covering. December's cold temperatures and natural moisture create ideal conditions for gradual germination as winter transitions to spring. In mild climates, sow directly into garden beds where you want plants to grow. In colder regions, winter sowing containers work beautifully. Once established, many poppies self-sow reliably, creating naturalized colonies that increase each year with no effort on your part. December. Sowing is how generations of gardeners have grown these romantic, fleeting flowers successfully. The 20th and final seed on our December starting list is Swiss chard, a colorful and productive green that bridges the gap between winter and summer gardening. Chard is moderately cold hardy and adapts well to winter sowing or direct sowing in mild climates, giving you sturdy seedlings ready to transplant or grow on when true spring arrives. The variety I love is Bright Lights, which produces stems in a rainbow of colors, including red, orange, yellow, pink, and white. Beyond its beauty, chard is remarkably productive and heat-tolerant, continuing to produce leaves long after lettuce and spinach have bolted in summer warmth. Gardeners in zones 4 through 9 can start chard seeds in December using winter sowing containers, cold frames, or direct seeding in areas with mild winters. Sow seeds about 1/2 inch deep and keep the soil consistently moist. While chard isn't quite as cold tolerant as kale or spinach, it handles light frosts well and establishes strong roots during cool weather. December-sown plants develop into robust specimens that provide harvests from early spring right through fall, making chard one of the most rewarding crops for extending your gardening season. And now for the bonus tip gardeners swear by. When you're winter sowing in milk jugs or containers, skip the temptation to bring them inside during cold snaps. Those freezing temperatures are actually doing important work. The repeated freeze and thaw cycles help break down seed coats, satisfy stratification requirements, and toughen up seedlings in ways that climate-controlled, indoor growing simply cannot replicate. Gardeners who panic and move containers into garages or basements during deep freezes often end up with weaker plants or poor germination. Trust the process. Your seeds evolved to handle winter, and the container provides just enough protection from drying winds and hungry critters, while still exposing seeds to the cold they need. The only exception is if containers are completely submerged in standing water or ice. Otherwise, let them sit through snow, sleet, and frigid nights. Come spring, you'll have the strongest, most resilient seedlings you've ever grown, perfectly adapted to outdoor conditions from day one. Thanks for sticking with me through the entire video. If you found this helpful, give it a like, subscribe for more gardening tips, and check out our other videos on growing a better garden.